I am so excited to bring this episode to you guys. It is, I'm trying to find the episode. It is episode 464. We're nearly the 500, and it's Thursday morning, June the 3rd. I know the people on YouTube, mind you, there's only one. Oh, okay, there's some more on LinkedIn and Facebook, but there's one on YouTube who's watching me right now. You probably can't see me because it's particularly dark. The sun is going down when I'm recording this. So I apologize about that. I ain't turning the lights on. And yeah, the reason why I'm excited to bring this to you is because it was a motivation brought on by my 6-year-old son, howdy Zach. And yeah, anyway, so I'll get into that in a second. And I wanted you to know you're not lacking effort, you're lacking motivation. So right now, if you feel like down in the dumps or stuck or whatever it may be, you're not lacking effort. It's not effort because anybody can put in the effort if you've got the motivation. You're lacking motivation. That's what it is. And the reason I started thinking down this line is because I was out running, and it was hard. It was really hard. And don't get me wrong, I don't go far and I don't go fast. But at the very, very end, the last half mile is all uphill. And it's not massively uphill, but it is tough for someone like me. I don't mean tough, but it depends on what mood you're in, and I don't know, or what the weather is. It gets harder some days than others, and it's just all you can see is just long, hard, uphill straight. And I was running it one day, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this is really, really hard." And then it reminded me of a few Sundays ago. I mean, when you're watching this now, it'll be June the 3rd. We're in May when we're recording this, but it was in March, the end of March, and it was absolutely teeming it down when Zach was playing football. It was cold, it was wet, it was sleeting, it was horrendous. And this thought came into my mind just after that had happened. So I like I say, I always put these episodes, I've got the next 2 months worth of episodes already sorted. And so I know what I'm going to say. I haven't recorded them yet, but I know what I'm going to say. And so when I was writing this, or when I was thinking about the effort and motivation, I started thinking about Zach, because I can honestly say that the position we were, it was the coldest that I can ever remember being. And I've been skiing, I've been to Scotland, I've been on mountains, I've been in cold situations, but it's probably because I wasn't dressed for it. I wasn't dressed for the cold. I didn't know it was gonna. Well, it's the end of March. You don't expect it. It's nearly April, or it might have been early April. You don't expect it to be that cold. You don't expect it to be raining. And I was drenched. I was soaking. But what inspired me was the fact that my little son, my 6-year-old, Zach, was playing in this rain. You didn't complain. Well, you did complain a little bit. Because basically what happens, there's four quarters and the swap around. So each player gets 2 quarters. And then when Zach came off, I could see he was cold and stuff. And so I went over across to him and I said, you're all right. Don't worry about it. You're fine. Come on, bud. You'll get through this kind of thing, trying to motivate him, because when you go through something like that, it gives you some resilience. It puts hairs on your chest. I think it's ultimately a horrible thing to go through, but ultimately it's a good thing for them as characters. It's character building. And he said, I don't want to play the second half, Dad. I don't want to play the next half. And I goes, I know you don't, buddy. I know you don't. But sometimes you don't want to do something, but when you finish it, you'll be so proud of yourself from getting through it. And now listen, if you tell me you don't want to do it, I respect that and we'll go home. And bearing in mind that some of the children, I think 2 out of the 5 that were supposed to go back on actually went home. They didn't come back on. They didn't want to. Actually, I think it was 3 of them. And 100% can sympathize and can agree. But Zach wasn't that person. He wanted to go back on. And when I was watching him, he didn't cower away from the cold. He was running. He was getting involved. He was getting stuck in. And it just inspired me, because that situation is different the way Zach sees it than the way I see it. I see it completely different than he would do, because I'm older. I've seen it before. I've been there before. But the way Zach sees it, it must have been terrifying. He can't have been that cold before. He's playing in shorts and T-shirts. And I was cold in a coat. So for him to show the character to continue. And the other boys and there's no girls, the other boys that were doing that, it shows character as well. And I started thinking, well, what's the equivalent for me? What's the equivalent? And I can't really say the equivalent, because that probably the worst. Well, it's definitely the worst conditions that he's ever played in as a footballer. It's worst conditions he's ever been out in the rain, in the snow, and don't get me wrong, it's not going to kill him, but it's not nice. And so when I was doing my run, and I was just seeing his little hill, I just thought of Zach. I thought what Zach went through, and I thought, wait a second, I asked Zach to continue, or I not expected him to continue, but I was hoping that he'd continue playing football in that rain. And so if I'm hoping or expecting him to do that in that conditions, then me running up a hill, how dare I complain? How dare I? I just call myself all sorts of names. I probably can say names on here. And I starts with, well, it's a wimp and, all sorts of things. And that motivated me, it inspired me, because it wasn't the effort that I was lacking, it was the motivation. I found the motivation in my 6-year-old son, what he had gone through the previous week or a couple of weeks ago, and what he'd come out of. And he actually told me at the end of it, he said, I'm real proud of myself, Dad, for playing in that. I said, buddy, I'm more proud. I think it was absolutely immense. I am really proud that you went through that. It doesn't matter the result, the one, but it doesn't matter the result. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you played. It matters that you know that you overcome something, that you achieved something, that you did something you didn't want to do. And surely that has got to build up character. But not only that, it's got to build up your confidence. And so if my little man can do that, then I sure as hell can get my ass out of bed at 5:30 in the morning and run up a small hill, run 2.5 miles or whatever it is. Sometimes even run more. Not very often, but sometimes I do. And so you're not lacking effort, you're lacking motivation. Find your motivation in somebody, somewhere, something. Because I promise you, if you look for the motivation, you will find it. There is motivation everywhere. And I found my motivation that day in my son because of what he did. And there is millions of stories of things like that you can tag onto, that you can ride the coattails of. One of the best books is David Goggins' book. And it is a simple saying, what would Goggins do? What would Goggins do? And that is motivation. You're not lacking the effort, you're lacking the motivation. So what you need to find, you don't need to find the effort, because the effort's inside you. I promise you, every single person listening to this, the effort is there. You need to find the motivation. What is going to inspire you? Whether it's David Goggins, whether it's your son, whether it's your wife, whether it's your husband, whether it's that guy at work or girl at work, whether it's the teachers, whoever it is, somebody right now in your life inspires you and can inspire you. But you've got to be open to it. You've got to harness that power, because they're showing all sorts of power. But the great thing is, the inspiring people, we can hang on to their coattails. We can use their inspiration. We can use their effort. We can use what their achievements are, and we can use it for motivation for ourselves. It's almost like fuel for the soul. And so I use my son. There was nowhere on God's green earth that I was not going to get up that hill after I thought of my son playing in that rain. Now, where's your motivation? Where's your inspiration? Who is your inspiration? Who is your motivation? Because there's somebody out there that will inspire you to do great things, because you, my friend, are capable of so much more. We just have to find that inspiration, that spark, that motivation. And when you find it, I promise you, it's easy. It is easy. Running up that hill, honestly, after I started thinking about Zach, I was so inspired. I've never, ever felt so energetic running up that hill after feeling so low, so down. So I just wanted to throw the towel in. And then all of a sudden, bang, I thought about Zach, and it gave me another gear. You can find that as well, my friends. I promise you, each and every single one of you out there, you're not lacking the effort, you're lacking the inspiration, you're lacking the motivation. But when you find it, and everybody does, you will open up a whole new you that you wasn't aware that was actually there. And it's there for everybody. And once you find that, once you find that person, that motivation, that inspiration, then it's so inspiring. It's so liberating. It's so freeing. The shackles are off, my friends. You can achieve anything you want to achieve. And it doesn't have to be in physical activities. It can be work. It can be relationships. It can be the physical, but it can be anything you want. Honestly, please believe me, you can achieve whatever you want to achieve. You're not lacking the effort. You're just lacking the motivation. Find that motivation, guys. That is the key. All right, do that. So thank you so much for tuning in. I love and appreciate you all. Tomorrow, we are talking about getting love. You have to love yourself first. I love that episode as well. All right, do that. See you soon. Much man love. Bye.